This coin almost slipped through history unnoticed. It looked ordinary, plain, like any penny you'd pass across a counter for a cup of coffee, but one sharp-eyed collector realized it was anything but ordinary. What he found was a 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, and it shocked the coin world when it surfaced at auction, selling for over $1 million. Yes, a single penny. Something that could have jingled in your pocket change, something you might have tossed in a jar, turned out to be worth up to $1.40 million. How could something so small hold such staggering value? The answer begins deep inside the US Mint in 1991. It was a year of transition, experimentation, and mistakes. Pennies were being struck in the millions, but a few coins slipped through the cracks. They carried no mint mark, an omission that transformed an ordinary copper-plated coin into a treasure of unimaginable worth. Collectors were stunned, dealers were scrambling, and ordinary people began checking their change, hoping lightning would strike twice. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. One man, a quiet collector from the Midwest, almost overlooked it. He had a handful of pennies from the bank, nothing special, but something about the shine of one coin caught his eye. He tilted it under the light and noticed there was no mint mark. At first, he thought it was a simple mistake, maybe just worn away. But when he magnified it, his heart stopped. This was no ordinary penny, this was the kind that numismatists whisper about, the kind of mistake that makes headlines, the kind of error that transforms pocket change into fortune. And here's the chilling part: most people would have missed it. Most people have missed it because millions of 1991 pennies are still floating around America today, and only a few hold this priceless flaw. One coin was confirmed. It went to auction, and as the bidding began, the price climbed higher and higher. The room was tense. Collectors leaned forward, every paddle raised pushed the value beyond belief. $10,000, $100,000, $500,000, and then silence. When the hammer finally dropped, that tiny 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny had sold for a staggering $1.40 million. And yet, that's not the end of the story, because experts believe more of these coins are still out there, hidden in piggy banks, forgotten in drawers, waiting in old coffee cans filled with loose change. And the thought that your penny jar could hold $1 million coin is enough to send chills down any collector's spine. Here's where the secret lies. In 1991, the Philadelphia Mint produced billions of pennies. Normally, Philadelphia coins had no mint mark at all, a tradition that dates back decades. But in 1991, a rare transitional strike occurred. Some coins were struck with the wrong dies, intended for Denver or San Francisco coins, yet missing their crucial mint marks. This wasn't just a tiny mistake. It was a historical accident, a perfect storm of timing, equipment, and oversight. Dealers called it a miracle error, collectors called it a once-in-a-lifetime discovery, and when the news spread, it created a frenzy unlike anything the coin world had seen in years. But here's the twist that most people don't realize: not every 1991 penny without a visible mint mark is valuable. Many are simply worn down. Their tiny DRS mint mark faded over time. That's the trap. That's where countless people have been fooled. The answer is in the details. Look closely at the placement. A true 1991 no mint mark penny isn't worn, it's struck that way. There's no faint trace of a letter, no ghostly outline, just a clean, untouched surface where the mint mark should be. The edges are crisp, the strike is strong, and the coin itself shines with the unmistakable quality of a mint error. And that's where collectors need to be sharper than ever, because this exact detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Imagine this: you're digging through your change. After buying a coffee, you see a 1991 penny, you almost toss it aside, but something nags at you, you look closer, and then, your hands begin to shake. Stories like this aren't just fantasies. They've happened, and they continue to happen to ordinary people, people who never thought they'd hold a coin worth more than a house. Collectors are still hunting, auction houses are still watching, and the legend of the 1991 no mint mark penny grows with every passing year. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, and the next discovery could be yours. So here's what you need to do: every time you see a 1991 penny, stop and hold it up to the light, check carefully for the mint mark. If there's nothing there, no D, no S, nothing at all, don't dismiss it, examine it, protect it, because you could be holding history in your hands. Collectors were shocked when one surfaced, dealers rushed when another appeared, and ordinary people like you and me are still searching, because the next 1991 no mint mark Lincoln penny found could easily sell for over $1 million. Think about that for a moment. A single cent one coin, something so small it almost disappears in your hand, could unlock wealth most people only dream about. And the truth is, this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up in the trash, but it turned one man into an overnight millionaire: the 2002 D mint mark Lincoln penny. At first glance, it looks like nothing more than a common piece of pocket change. You've seen it hundreds of times, maybe even tossed it into a jar without a second thought. But what if I told you that one of these seemingly ordinary pennies has already sold for over $1 million? And another could be sitting in your very own home right now. The year was 2002. Denver's mint was striking billions of pennies, each one bearing the proud D Mint mark. They were everywhere, used to pay for groceries, handed out as change at gas stations, forgotten in glove compartments. To the naked eye, they all looked the same. But hidden among those countless coins, a few were different. A few carried a secret mistake so rare, so elusive, that it would shake the entire coin collecting world to its core. Collectors who first stumbled across them couldn't believe what they were holding. How could a coin minted in such a modern era, an era of advanced technology and strict quality control, carry an error worth more than $1 million? Yet it happened. And the proof rests in the hands of stunned auction houses who saw these 2002 D pennies climb to breathtaking prices. But here's where it gets fascinating. The error wasn't obvious. It wasn't a glaring double strike or a completely off-center coin. No, this mistake was subtle. The kind of detail that hides in plain sight. The kind of detail most people miss until someone points it out. And that tiny difference is what transforms an ordinary 1-cent piece into a $1 million miracle. Imagine this. A collector, sifting through a small box of loose change he nearly traded in at the bank, suddenly notices something unusual. The D Mint mark doesn't look quite right. The lettering appears distorted. The coin feels just slightly off in weight. Could it be? He sends it for authentication, still skeptical, half laughing at himself for even daring to hope. Weeks later, the results come back. It's confirmed. He isn't holding a penny worth 1 cent. He's holding a treasure worth up to $1.5 million, but what happened next stunned the entire coin world. News of this penny's discovery spread like wildfire. Dealers scrambled, desperate to get their hands on one. Collectors who had ignored their 2002 pennies for decades suddenly went back, searching every roll, every jar, every hidden stash. And then, more surfaced. Not many. Just a handful. Each time one appeared, it sent shockwaves through the community. How did the Denver Mint, equipped with machines designed for precision, allow such an anomaly to escape? Some experts suggest that a misaligned die created a doubling effect. Others whisper of experimental planchets, a batch of coins struck on the wrong metal that somehow slipped through. A few even believe a rogue mint worker may have deliberately created these errors, knowing someday they'd surface as priceless rarities. Nobody knows for sure. And that mystery only adds to their value. The 2002 D penny is not just rare, it is unpredictable. Every example found tells a slightly different story. Some show dramatic doubling in the lettering. Others reveal strange anomalies in the Lincoln Memorial design. A few appear to be struck on planchets meant for dimes. And it's those rare varieties, the ones with the most dramatic mistakes, that command prices soaring toward $1.5 million. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were in disbelief. Everyday Americans, people who had never cared about coins, suddenly started emptying drawers and piggy banks, hoping to stumble upon a life-changing penny. One man's pocket change became his retirement. Another family's forgotten coin jar paid for a brand new home. And still today, stories continue to emerge of ordinary people uncovering extraordinary wealth in the unlikeliest of places. But wait, this is where it gets even more intriguing. For every genuine $1 million 2002 D penny, there are dozens of imposters. Coins that look unusual at first glance, but turn out to be worthless under closer inspection. Collectors call these false hopes. And if you're not careful, you might pass over the real thing while wasting time on fakes. First, examine the D Mint mark. On the rare varieties, it may appear doubled, shifted, or malformed. The placement won't match the standard Denver strike. Second, inspect Lincoln's features. Some of the rarest errors show doubling on his face, his beard, or the date itself. Third, check the coin's weight. A standard 2002 penny should weigh 2.5 grams. If your coin weighs noticeably more or less, it may have been struck on the wrong planchet, and that's where the $1 million magic lies. Condition matters. A coin in poor condition may still be valuable, but a pristine, mint-state example? That's where you hit the 7-figure jackpot. Imagine holding a coin you thought was worth 1 cent, only to learn it could sell for over $1 million. That's not just rare, it's life-changing. These coins are still out there. They weren't all found. They weren't all pulled from circulation. Right now, one could be hiding in a roll of pennies at your local bank. One could be sitting in a forgotten jar in your attic. One could be jingling in your pocket at this very moment, but what makes the 2002 D penny so dangerous is that people overlook it. They assume modern coins can't be rare. They assume the only valuable pennies are the wheat cents from the 1940s or the steel pennies from 1943. They assume wrong. And in that false assumption lies your opportunity, because while most people ignore their 2002 pennies, you know the truth. You know that somewhere, out there, a single cent holds the power to transform an ordinary life into a story worth telling for generations. The next time you see a penny with the year 2002 and that small D mint mark, don't dismiss it. Don't toss it in a jar. Examine it closely. Weigh it. Study the mint mark. Look for doubling. And if something feels off, get it authenticated. Because that tiny coin could be worth far more than gold, this isn't just about collecting. It's about discovery. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the dream that one simple coin could unlock the door to financial freedom. And it's about knowing that history has a way of rewarding those who pay attention to the smallest details. So, remember this. The next time you hold a 2002 D mint mark Lincoln penny, take a closer look. That tiny detail most people miss could be the detail that changes everything, because this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up forgotten in a dusty change jar, but instead, it turned into a discovery worth more than $1 million. In 1991, the US Mint struck billions of ordinary Lincoln pennies. To most people, they were nothing more than pocket change, spent, lost, and overlooked. But hidden among the ordinary, a few extraordinary mistakes slipped through the presses. Flaws so rare, so unthinkable, that they transformed a simple 1-cent coin into a treasure worth up to $1.60 million. Collectors couldn't believe it at first. How could a coin made in the millions, something so common, suddenly become one of the most sought-after pennies in American history? The answer lies in secrets buried within the coin's design, and the shocking truth about the no-mint mark variety. At first glance, the 1991 Lincoln penny looks completely normal. Lincoln's proud profile, the word liberty, the year 1991, and the familiar memorial reverse. But look closer than most people ever do, and the story begins to unravel. You see, most pennies struck in Philadelphia in 1991 carried no mint mark at all. To the average person, this seems ordinary. But hidden within that very absence lies the potential for fortune. Because some of these no mint mark pennies were struck on the wrong planchets, or created with double dies, or struck with faint errors so rare that only a trained eye can spot them, and when those rare survivors appear, the coin market goes into a frenzy. Collectors rush. Dealers argue. And when the gavel drops at auction, jaws hit the floor. One such penny, tucked away in a cigar box for decades, surfaced in a small-town estate sale. It was almost sold for face value 1 cent until a sharp-eyed collector noticed something unusual about the strike. What happened next stunned the coin world. What makes this coin worth more than most people's homes, cars, and life savings combined? The answer is hidden in details so tiny, most people never notice them. On some examples, doubling can be seen in the inscriptions, subtle, ghost-like shadows of letters that should never exist. On others, the coin was struck with a slightly off-center alignment, creating an eerie, distorted version of Lincoln's face. These are the errors that turn everyday change into life-changing wealth. Collectors were shocked when the first 1991 no-mint mark pennies with errors began surfacing. How could something so small be worth such unimaginable sums? The answer is simple: rarity. Billions of pennies were made, but only a handful carry these mistakes. And it's that extreme rarity, combined with demand, that drives prices into the stratosphere. But here's the part most people miss. These coins don't always announce themselves loudly. They hide in plain sight. You could pass one across a counter, never realizing you just gave away $1 million. You could have one right now, sitting quietly in a drawer, a dusty coin jar, or even the folds of an old wallet. Think about that for a moment. 1 cent, the smallest coin in circulation, could secretly be the key to a fortune, and the stories of discovery never fail to inspire. A man in Ohio found one in his childhood collection, something he'd saved since he was 10 years old. That coin later brought him over $1 million. A woman in California uncovered another in her late father's coin stash. She couldn't believe it when auctioneers confirmed its value. Her father had been sitting on a life-changing treasure and never even knew. But what if I told you that even today, in 2025, these coins are still out there, waiting to be found? They haven't all been discovered. They haven't all been claimed. And for those who know what to look for, the dream of turning pocket change into $1 million miracle is very, very real now. Let's reset for a moment, because here's where it gets crucial. The biggest mistake most people make is assuming all 1991 pennies are the same. They are not. And missing this detail could cost you a fortune. When you pick up a 1991 penny, look carefully. If it carries no mint mark beneath the date, it came from Philadelphia. That alone doesn't make it rare. But the errors do. Search for doubling in the words "In God We Trust" or "Liberty." Look for off-center strikes, where Lincoln's face or the memorial is slightly shifted. Look for coins that seem unusually sharp or unusually faint, with ghost-like features. These are the signs that separate ordinary cents from million-dollar legends. And here's another chilling detail: condition matters. A 1991 penny pulled straight from circulation, scratched and worn, might fetch hundreds or thousands if it carries a major error. But a pristine example, untouched by time, can catapult into the millions. Imagine finding one in your change, rushing to a dealer, and hearing those words, "This is it. This is the $1 million penny." That moment has happened before. And it can happen again. Every time you reach for your coins, you hold the possibility of uncovering one of the rarest treasures in American numismatics. It's not just about money. It's about the thrill of discovery, the dream of finding what others missed, and the chance to hold history in your hands. So tonight, when you empty your pockets or open that old coin jar, take a second look. Don't dismiss that little brown cent as worthless. Examine it carefully. Study the details. Because buried in the smallest corners of your life may be the greatest fortune you'll ever encounter. Collectors are still buzzing, still searching, still dreaming. Because this coin has proven, time and again, that the impossible is real. The 1991 no mint mark Lincoln penny is more than a coin, it's a reminder that miracles can hide in plain sight. That wealth can begin with something as small as 1 cent. And that you, yes you, could be the next person to discover it. Check the date. Look for the no mint mark. Search for the doubling, the off-center strikes, the strange details others overlook, because this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up in the trash, but instead, it shocked the entire collecting world when it sold for nearly $2 million. We're talking about the 1994 no mint mark Lincoln penny. A coin so common, so ordinary looking, that most people wouldn't think twice about spending it on a cup of coffee. Yet hidden in plain sight, one tiny detail turned an everyday penny into a life-changing fortune. Imagine reaching into your pocket and pulling out a coin you've seen thousands of times. You glance at it, you almost ignore it. But wait. Something feels different. Could this be the same coin that stunned collectors across the globe? Could this be the coin that turned spare change into over $1 million? The 1994 penny has a story unlike any other. At first glance, it's just another copper-plated zinc coin, struck by the billions at the Philadelphia Mint. But in the chaotic world of minting, mistakes happen. Errors slip through the cracks. And when they do, fortunes are born. But what happened next stunned even the most seasoned coin dealers. Collectors began to notice that some 1994 pennies carried peculiar traits: doubled dies, off-center strikes, and even dramatic variations in the lettering and date. These were not simple flaws. They were rare accidents that transformed ordinary coins into national treasures. One collector, a man who had been searching through change for decades, stumbled on a 1994 penny unlike any he had ever seen. He almost dismissed it as worthless. But when he held it under the light, his heart stopped. The details didn't match the millions of others. He rushed it to a grading service, and that single penny was later valued at over $1 million. A coin that could have been spent at the corner store, suddenly worth more than a house. But this is where the story deepens. The 1994 penny wasn't just about errors. It was about survival. Because by 1994, the U.S. Mint had fully transitioned away from solid copper, producing pennies from zinc with only a thin copper plating. This made them cheaper to produce, but also more fragile. Any mistake in striking, any flaw in the plating, became instantly magnified. And those mistakes? They became the golden tickets of the coin world, but here's the twist: most people don't even know they exist. Dealers began whispering about ghost coins, 1994 pennies that weren't supposed to leave the mint, but somehow slipped into circulation. Stories spread of auctions where jaws dropped as bidding wars erupted. A single penny, climbing past hundreds, then thousands, then hundreds of thousands of dollars, until the gavel slammed down near $2 million. And yet, most Americans still treat the 1994 penny like nothing more than pocket change. Collectors were shocked when professional graders revealed that high-quality 1994 no-mint mark pennies, especially those with rare errors, were almost impossible to find in pristine condition. Out of billions struck, only a handful survived the test of time, circulation, and neglect. That's why dealers are rushing to get their hands on them, and why one coin in dazzling condition can sell for up to $1.70 million. It's the details. Look closely at the date. Check the lettering of Liberty. Tilt the coin in the light. Does the "In God We Trust" look doubled? Is the strike off center, with Lincoln's face shifted strangely? These details can mean the difference between 1 cent and $1 million, and here's something most people miss: 1994 was a year of inconsistency at the mint. Machines broke down. Dies wore out. And every imperfection that slipped through the cracks became a future collector's dream. The tiniest scratch, the faintest doubling, even a small misalignment could transform this penny into one of the rarest treasures in American history. But wait until you hear this: one man reportedly found his $1 million 1994 penny while sorting through a jar of coins his grandfather left behind. He almost poured the jar into a coin counting machine. But something told him to look closer. That instinct, that pause, made him a millionaire. This tiny penny, a coin smaller than your thumb, carried the weight of destiny. And it could be hiding anywhere: in your car's cup holder, in your kitchen drawer, in an old coffee can filled with change. Think about it. Billions of these coins were minted. Billions entered circulation. But only a handful are truly special. Only a handful are worth a fortune. That means the odds are slim, but not impossible. And every day, people across America are unknowingly handing over what could be their life-changing fortune at the checkout line. Start with condition. If your 1994 penny looks flawless, with sharp edges, clear details, and brilliant luster, you may already be holding something valuable. If it carries no mint mark, meaning it was struck in Philadelphia, the odds rise even higher. Now, add in an error like a doubled die, an off-center strike, or even a dramatic lamination flaw, and you might just have a penny worth hundreds of thousands, even over $1 million. And here's the truth collectors don't want you to forget: every rare coin discovery begins with someone who believed. Someone who looked twice when everyone else looked away. So tonight, when you empty your pockets, when you hear those pennies jingling at the bottom of a jar, don't ignore them. One of them could hold the power to change your life forever. The 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is living proof that miracles hide in plain sight. That fortune favors those who pay attention. And that history sometimes slips quietly into your hand when you least expect it. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This penny almost ended up in a coin jar, forgotten forever. But when it was finally recognized, it sold for nearly $2 million. A simple 2001 penny with no mint mark, a coin so ordinary, most people would have tossed it aside without a second thought. Yet this tiny copper treasure became a life-changing miracle for one lucky collector. At first glance, the 2001 penny looks like every other coin you've seen in your lifetime. Lincoln's portrait on the front. The familiar memorial design on the back. But hidden within this common coin lies a mystery so rare, so breathtaking, that it shocked even the most seasoned coin dealers. And the reason for its jaw-dropping value? A small detail, one that almost everyone misses: back in 2001, millions of pennies rolled off the presses of the U.S. Mint. They were supposed to be flawless, ordinary, meant only for everyday transactions. But in the shadows of the minting process, mistakes sometimes slip through: tiny, almost invisible errors that turned a coin worth 1 cent into $1 million treasure. And among them, the no-mint mark 2001 Lincoln penny emerged. Collectors first whispered about it in hushed tones. Rumors spread of a penny that didn't belong. A coin missing the mint mark that should have identified its birthplace. At first, it seemed impossible. Could a modern coin really be missing such a crucial detail? Yet when one surfaced at auction, the room fell silent. The bids rose higher and higher, until it shattered records and left the entire coin world stunned. But what happened next made the story unforgettable. One man found a 2001 penny while cleaning out his desk drawer. He thought it was worthless until he noticed something strange. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. No P for Philadelphia. Just a clean, bare space where a mint mark should have been. That ordinary-looking penny would go on to change his life, bringing him a fortune most people only dream of. This tiny detail is why the coin is worth millions. And yet, countless people have had this exact penny pass through their hands and never noticed. Dealers are now rushing to check their stockpiles, scanning every 2001 penny for the hidden clue. Imagine holding a coin that looks like spare change, yet is secretly worth $1.80 million. But here's where the story gets even more dramatic. The 2001 no mint mark penny isn't just valuable because of what's missing. Some of these coins also carry subtle doubling on the lettering, faint but visible to the trained eye. Liberty may look slightly thicker. The date may appear shadowed. These errors multiply the value, turning an already rare coin into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. Collectors were shocked when another example surfaced, tucked away in a family's coin jar. For years it sat there, buried beneath nickels and dimes, until one curious hobbyist decided to take a closer look. That discovery, too, brought in a staggering sum at auction, leaving experts speechless. But here's the twist most people don't know: not all 2001 no mint mark pennies are equal. Condition matters. A coin with scratches, dents, or wear might fetch thousands, but a flawless, shiny, uncirculated piece can skyrocket to over $1 million. This is why some collectors store pennies in airtight cases, guarding them like precious jewels. Because a single scratch could mean the difference between fortune and heartbreak. Think about it. How many times have you spent a penny without looking? Tossed it in a tip jar? Dropped it on the floor? One of those coins could have been the key to generational wealth. And that's what makes this story so haunting. Every coin you ignore might be the one worth a fortune, but what happened next stunned the entire coin world. As word spread, counterfeiters tried to create their own no mint mark 2001 pennies. The market was flooded with fakes, forcing experts to tighten their authentication methods. Dealers warned collectors to be careful, because spotting a genuine piece requires a sharp eye and deep knowledge. That battle between real and fake only fueled the legend of the coin. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle. And yet, for every story of a life-changing discovery, there are thousands of people who missed their chance. A coin slipped through their fingers, spent at a gas station, lost forever. It's a reminder that opportunity often comes disguised as something small, something ordinary. The 2001 no mint mark penny is more than a coin, it's a symbol of hidden wealth, of miracles hiding in plain sight. And the truth is, there could be more out there. Right now, sitting in your change jar, resting in a drawer, waiting in your wallet. Start with the date, 2001. Then look closely at the front, near Lincoln's shoulder. Most pennies from this year will have a tiny mint mark, either a D or a P. But the rare treasure has nothing. Just a blank space. Next, examine the lettering. If Liberty or the date shows doubling, you could be holding something even more valuable. And finally, check the condition. A coin in mint state, with no scratches in full detail, is the kind of find that could make headlines. Collectors say this is one of the most exciting modern pennies in existence. Dealers are on high alert. And the hunt continues. Somewhere, right now, another person may be sitting on $1 million coin without even realizing it. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up in a child's piggy bank, but when it resurfaced decades later, it stunned the coin world with a price tag of nearly $2 million. A plain old penny. A 1972, no mint mark, Lincoln penny, hiding in plain sight. At first glance, it looks ordinary. Copper-colored. Worn edges. The kind of penny you'd ignore at the bottom of a dusty change jar. But this tiny coin carries a secret so powerful that it transformed what should have been worth 1 cent into a fortune that could buy a mansion. The story begins in the early 1970s. America was in turmoil: Vietnam, Watergate on the horizon, the economy shifting. The US Mint was producing billions of coins. But in the chaos of mass production, something slipped through. A mistake. A doubling on the design so subtle, so mysterious, that only the sharpest eyes would notice. Most people spent it without a thought. A penny for gum. A penny for the bus fare. A penny lost in the cushions of a couch. But one penny, one that lacked a mint mark and carried a doubling error, would become the stuff of legend, and here's where the story turns electrifying. A collector, sorting through rolls of coins purchased from a small-town bank, spotted something strange. On the words, "In God We Trust," the letters looked doubled, ghostly, like a shadow dancing behind each word. Liberty looked the same. Even the date, 1972, appeared etched twice. His heart raced. Could it be? He knew instantly what he was holding was no ordinary penny, but what happened next stunned the entire coin world. That coin, authenticated, graded, and placed in an auction, sold for a jaw-dropping sum, climbing higher and higher as collectors battled for ownership. By the time the gavel fell, the world realized something incredible. This humble 1972 penny had crossed into the realm of seven figures. It had become a $1 million miracle, and here's the part that sends chills down the spine of every coin hunter. That penny had no mint mark. Which means it was struck in Philadelphia, and millions were minted that year. Which means right now, more of them could be hiding out there. Waiting. Collectors were shocked. Dealers rushed to dig through their inventories. Everyday people, once uninterested in coins, suddenly poured over jars of change, searching desperately for the ghostly doubling that separates a 1-cent piece from a life-changing treasure. One man's pocket change had just rewritten the rules of collecting forever, but this wasn't the only 1972 penny with doubling. Multiple versions exist, some minor, some so faint they're nearly worthless. But the Holy Grail, the variety that pushes values to nearly $2 million, is bold, dramatic, and unmistakable. On that coin, the letters leap out like they've been stamped twice, clear as day, visible even to the naked eye. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The 1972 doubled die penny is one of the most famous errors in American history. Yet still, most Americans have no idea it exists. They spend it, lose it, dismiss it as ordinary. But for the few who know the signs, it's a key that unlocks a fortune. Imagine pulling out your wallet. A penny slips from your hand, clinking onto the counter. You pick it up, irritated, because who cares about a penny? But what if that cent was the one? What if that little copper coin was worth more than your car, your house, maybe even your retirement fund? It sounds impossible, until you realize it's already happened. Auction records prove it. Collectors have battled over these coins, driving the price higher with each passing year. And now, with the rise of online auctions and viral discoveries, the value only grows. Today, a pristine 1972 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, with the right doubling, can reach up to $1.9 million, but here's the danger. Many people mistake common scratches, wear, or even poor lighting for doubling. And that mistake has crushed countless dreams. Only the true double die variety, the one officially recognized by grading services, carries the staggering value. Look closely at "In God We Trust" along the top rim. The letters should appear doubled, with the second image almost as bold as the first. Look at Liberty, it should carry the same ghostly doubling. And the date, 1972, should shimmer with a doubled effect, especially on the numbers 1 and 9. If it looks faint, if it makes you squint, it's probably not the right one. But if it leaps out at you, your heart will know. Collectors describe the moment as electric. The realization that they're holding history. That they've pulled a $1 million miracle from the pocket change of ordinary life, but the story doesn't end there. Each time one of these coins surfaces, it ignites a frenzy. Coin forums light up. Auction houses prepare for bidding wars. And ordinary Americans, digging through forgotten jars, wonder if they too might stumble upon a life-changing discovery, a penny that should have vanished into obscurity, now worth more than an entire lifetime of paychecks. And yet, the real thrill isn't just in the value. It's in the possibility. The chase. The idea that destiny could be hiding in plain sight, in the most ordinary object. That the next twist of fate could come not from Wall Street or lottery tickets, but from a copper coin resting in your palm. This is why collectors never stop searching. Because one coin can change everything. One mistake at the mint. One doubled die. One penny, no mint mark, from 1972. And it could be sitting in your drawer right now. So tonight, when you empty your pockets, look closely. Check the date. Check the letters. Don't dismiss the pennies as worthless, because hidden among them could be the single most shocking discovery of your life. The 1972 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, worth up to $1.9 million. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million.